Hey everyone, Paul the Virtual Investor here. In today's video, I want to talk about when is the appropriate time to shift markets. If you're a virtual investor like we are, when do you shift from one market to another? Okay. All right. Before I dive in here, make sure you click on the subscribe button, hit the bell notifications to get notified when we put new videos out. And if you like this video, make sure you give us a thumbs up. It'll definitely help us out. All right, let's dive into it here. So we buy all over the country. We bought in 44 to 50 states. And one of the ways we decide when we're going to buy in what market partly is due to weather. So for example, once we get into, we're in July right now. Once we get into September, I'll kind of shut down making offers in the very northern parts of the country, meaning like Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, up in the Northeast, where the markets, because you're shifting towards winter, right? And with that, and there's a reason for that, a lot of times you'll get a lot of snow, and it could come early in some places, November, December, January, it goes into February and March in some markets. And with that, it's hard for people to get to see the property. So you'll sit on properties for a long period of time because nobody can get out there. We had one last year or 2 years ago, I think it was, where we had a couple of feet of snow consistently on the ground. It was hard for people to get out there and see the property. We had to wait until March to sell that property. That's when we held from like November to March. And you just don't want to hold properties like that. So we shift when we're looking at buying in these different markets, and then we'll shift to the Midwest and then go down to the South and Southeast, Southwest, and so on. So you kind of want to shift when you're buying in what market, depending on the weather, one, and two, the demographics. So for example, right now we have a shifting migration going on, right? People are moving down into the sunbelt from the Northeast, from the upper Midwest, and from the Pacific Northwest as well. So people are still looking to retire and move down to these warmer climates. Obviously, the warmer climates I've been talking about for a while would be whether it's Southern California, Arizona, Texas, Tennessee, Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas. These are great places for people to go to retire, and people would choose different ones for different reasons, obviously. But being that we have the baby boomer generation, which is the largest generation right now in our country, they're going to continue to be migrating down there over the next decade, maybe 15 or even 20 years. So that should continue to be a good markets to be in. And that's what we look at, and we'll shift depending on what market people want to be in right now. Florida is the top market, but Texas is one of the top markets, and Arizona has been. But that's going to shift too. And it could shift even based on who the governor is, right? And what their tax laws are. Obviously, people want to retire where they can make their money last the longest and have the best climate too. So Florida has no income taxes. Tennessee has no state income taxes. And Texas has no state income taxes, Nevada. And these are the states that have really gained a lot over the past couple of years since the whole pandemic happened here. And not just from the pandemic, though, but from baby boomers retiring. I expect that to continue. So those are markets you want to focus on. And sometimes you got to shift from time period to time period, right? So let's say a big Toyota plant decides to move from one location to another. Well, that's going to affect where you're going to look to buy, especially if you're a buy and hold person. Not just that, but there's going to be a lot of job opportunities, a lot of potential to build properties there, rehab properties for good profits. So those are the reasons you really want to shift which markets you're looking at, where people are migrating to, the age demographics, and the time of year with weather patterns, and especially in the north when it gets cold and people just aren't buying. And in general, from September, call it till February, a lot of people are not buying in the especially not in the Northeast, right? The places where they will buy during that time, especially during the winter time, are going to be in Arizona and Florida, where the climates, where the snowbirds go down. And so there's a little different seasonalities to them when you buy and sell properties. So that should be an approach maybe you want to look at and time it for when you're going to do a fix and flip. Hopefully, if you're going to do a fix and flip, that you're done during near the peak or somewhere around the peak of the sales market in that particular area. All right, guys, I hope you got a lot out of that. Catch you in the next video.